Hello everyone and welcome to Exciting Play channel. So today we are going to see about common beginner errors in Pythons and also how to debug them. So let's start by switching my screen. So as you can see, so today title is going to be common beginner errors and how to debug them. So there are particularly, I have basically written three particular errors that are most common in the beginner, you can say development process or learning process. And these are is a syntax error, runtime error, and logical errors. Now, let's see what are the debugging techniques that we can use for these errors. And maybe before these debugging technique, let us see how what are the type of errors. So let's write a simple program. Let's say if x equal to 50, then print yeah, or if x is equal to 5, let's say, and x equal to 0 for now. Maybe let's put the 5 here actually. And now if I try to run this code, what will happen is you will get an syntax error. And why is that? Because we missed the semicolon here, and that semicolon actually breaks the program. And due to this breakage of this program, we get an error. So I will only say one thing. So please don't think that okay, I got an error. I suck at programming. So don't develop this kind of uh, thinking. But it is the part of you can say a professional journey or any coder or programmer. So it's not something to be afraid of because it is something that even some experienced programmers often face. Even when I am working in the industry, there are some you can say situations where I get these not exactly I will say this type of error, but similar level of error, similar errors I face every day because you don't know what you have forgot to type or maybe something else. So it's not something to worry about. So moving onwards. Sorry, I believe I should have shown you the error actually. So let me tell you basically how to how to read this error actually. As you can see, we have run this file, and this file is actually this common beginner error.py file, and it says okay in line 8. Basically, as you can see, it says line 8. In line 8 there is this coding that is occurred, but after this coding at this particular place there is an syntax error, and we are expecting a semicolon there. So you can see when I read this error in this format, I get to say okay, there is a semicolon missing at some place, and the place is line 8. So you can just go to that place and just simply correct it. Now I will say, rather than reading it from the top to bottom, I will say read it from bottom to top. Why is that? Because you can see if I read it from bottom, you can say expected semicolon. That means we have forgot to put semicolon somewhere, and it is in this statement, and which if statement we are talking about, and that if statement lie in line 8. So when we read bottom to top, we get to make sense of this error quite well, and we can just say okay, this is my whole code, let's say, and I say okay, I am on the line 26, but my error is in line 8. So we can just simply go to line 8 and put a semicolon here as it is describing. Now what to say? We can say error. Let's say for now we can say that. Now when I run this program, as you can see, we get our output. That means error is fixed. So this kind of thing that I will say. Now this is the one type of error, that means the syntax error or when you miss something or you typed some wrong syntax, this is when this error actually raised and pop up. So talking about there are also some different type of errors. So let's say for now what we can say is, let's say we have an variable name, and in this variable I say my name, and I want to again print the error, sorry, print this name to the console. Now as you can see, we get an error, but this time this error was not a syntax error, but else it is an name error. Why is that? It's not like I have created name and name variable and I have mistyped it, that's why. No, it is saying that okay, this way name variable was not defined in your program, or you can say you have not assigned any value, or you have even not you can say uh, created something like NAM. So please create that. Either it is also giving us some you can say recommendation like, okay, did you mean name here, basically name variable here. And in the similar way, as you can see, we can see that okay, there is an error in this print statement, and that print statement lies in line number 12. So we can just go there and simply correct our name, or else if we want to define a new variable, we can just simply do that, and this error will be fixed. As you can see, we get our output. Now I know some of you have already been aware of that that Python is a, you can say, interpreted language. That means the execution of the program is happen by line coding. And as you can see in the previous error, the error fixed line is actually got printed while there is an error in this print statement, and that's the biggest proof of that. Now we have covered, or you can say we have seen the syntax error and the name error, and now there is also quite some more error, like if true, print, let's say name. Okay, now if I run this, I know some of you might be thinking, what are what are these things that I am showing to you? But these are the things exactly what you will face when you are writing such a big programs. And I am showing you, okay, these are the most common errors that you can expect. Of course, while you are writing in, you can say in a fast manner, or let's say if you are in an interview and you don't have any compiler, you can say IDE like VS Code, and you have to write your code in the notepad. So in this situation, there is an often chance that you miss to enter the you can say indent block, some spaces, some name error. So in this situation, you have to know that okay, this certain type of error arises when that particular type of mistake is happened. So that's why I am showing that to you. So as you can see, now we get an indentation error that say that okay, after an if block, we forgot to put a you can say four spaces or an indent block. So that's why it is saying us to us and say, okay, go to line 15 and correct it. Now when I reach the line 15, it shows print statement but not if statement. Why is that? Because the indent block should appear in the 15th you can say line, not in the 14th line. That's why it is showing us. So when I run this again, we get an we get our output. So these are the type of errors I will say you face most often in the in our what they say in our day to day programming. Now there is also not particular the error, but a situation where we sometimes get an you can say situation where we just got print, we just print everything until end time, and we don't know when the loop, or you can say when the anything that is going to stop, and that particular situation is what we call infinite loop. Now, what is infinite loop? Let's say we got a code. Of course, I have to clear the terminal after it, but for the sake of showing it to you, I'm going to run that. So it says, okay, while true, it says print hello. I know some of after learning the while, you say, okay, this is going to run how many times? N times, and we don't know when this program is going to stop. This might lead to, you can say, broken, or you can say heavy CPU load on your system. So in this situation, first of all, kill the terminal, and then go to the line that you have written a while loop there. Basically, go to every while loop that you have written and see where there is a situation where while loop is still not yet closed, or there is no any condition where the while loop is closed. So you can say, after that I will say break. So this time when I execute this program, it is going to just print hello and break this program. So these are the things that you must keep in mind. Now, the other thing is that what we can say is what error should I show you? Okay, there is the other things are okay. If you write something like wrong if statement, or you can say condition statement, so these are the things that you should also keep in mind. Now, there is one thing that you must think every time, that okay, okay, I get to remember the exact thing that I want to show you. Let's say if you you can say type this type of situation here, you expect the result should be infinite. Of course, you are not going to manually type this kind of situation, but let's say for any program that you have written, and there is a situation where this type of condition error, that means you are dividing a number by zero. So at that time, we are going to get a zero division error, and I know it is quite well clear that you cannot divide some number by zero, and that leads to the infinity, of course. But in maths, but in programming terms, it will give you a zero division error. So keep that in mind. Now there are some errors yeah, there are also some errors like print name plus 5. So if I try to combine two different type of what they say data type, then it says okay, there is a type error, and it is saying that okay, we cannot concatenate string with the integer, and for that we have to typecast this to string. So these kind of things that you must keep in mind. Now these are very, you can say, very easy example, or you can say very simpler example that you have seen, are also the common beginner error. Now the logical errors are something like this while loop, and also something like, let's say if you want to check whether the name is Shubham or not, but you have never used the Shubham condition here, and you know you should have used. So this kind of thing are basically the common, you can say, errors. Of course, it is a type of error if it is not working the way you expect it to work. And we have syntax error, we have seen logical error, we have seen division by zero error, as well as the type error. Now we got the errors. Now there comes the main part. How can we remove those errors? So these are some debugging techniques that we can use to basically target these errors. So basically, first of all, include a print statement for every step. Now, how I am saying this is, let's say if I equal to zero, or rather than I can write something like this. Let's say number is equal to 100 or maybe 1000 to be clear. Now for I in range 1000 or number, we can say if I equal to or I modulus 10 equal to 0, then continue that iteration, that means skip that iteration, and also check whether I modulus 50 equal to 0. So and do one thing, when this situation meets, just break the program, else print I. So as you can see, we have written a simple program which basically checks some condition, and based on this condition we just operate this whole you can say loop. Now when I execute this program, as you can see, we got the numbers till 1000, but with certain conditions, like the modulus with 10 should be equal to 0, and that type of situation you should you can say skip those conditions, and we have skipped that. Now what if we want to see whether this condition has skipped or not? We can do one thing. Before skipping that iteration, we are going to print number is you can say divisible by 10, and for the 50, now there are two type of error actually lying in this situation right now, and I will tell you, but not um, before I have written that, or is divisible by 50. So when I run this program, as you can see, the number is divisible by 10 because it is 0. Then the number is divisible by 10 because it is 10. Now, as you can see, there are no number is divisible by 50 series or 50 statement. Why is that? Because there is an logical error in our condition. That means, okay, the number is 50 is greater than the 10. So we should first include this 50 here and 10 here. So the logic might not be like this, but why I'm saying that, okay, the 50 is also divisible by 10, right? So if 50 is divisible by 10, the condition for I modulus 10 is equal to 0 is going to be true, and it is going to be continue until we have reached a number where it will break the statement. So rather than putting continue here, we are going to say break it here and continue here. So right now, what it is going to print, as you can see, the number is divisible by 50, and that's what we have written the program. So why is it only, you can say, printing this number is divisible by 50 right now? Because we have not reached the condition of this here, and that should be wrong too. Okay, first let me clear this output, and again when again running this program, you can see printing the number is quite easy, and this else statement is not getting executed. And why is that? Because we are checking some condition that if modulus of I equal to 50, then print number is divisible by 50, and our first number is 0. So that's why it is showing us this kind of thing. Now, what if I say number plus 1, and from 1 I will start this. Oh, sorry. As you can see, we got the number from 0. Yeah, we got the number from 1, and at 10 we say number is divisible by 10, again, 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 and at last, when the number is 50, we break the loop. So this is from this example we say that okay, including the print statement help us understand what is happening at the back end. Now this is the thing that I will recommend everyone to include, because if we have not included this print statements by the way here, then the program should have run until the 1000, and we should have not stopped anywhere in between. So that's why the print statement help us improve the logic, as well as it help us you can say prove the logical error. That's why. Now it says break problems into part. That means, let's say if you have a multiple level of if statement in your program, uh, for the you can say for the similar program as above, how we can write this program here? We can write something like define mode check, and here we can say number comma, we can say mode with, and which can say return true number modulus mode with equal to 0. When we include this type of situation, we can actually break this whole program into different you can say parts. How is that? Because we can just simply call this function here and pass I and 50 here, and then just print this. So basically, this is not we can say fit example for that, but maybe let me just give you the exact program for that. Mm, so fixer debugging. So I don't think I have any kind of you can say program to show you right now, but you can say we can just simply break the whole program into different chunks. Chunks like okay, let's say if as I am as I am data analyst, so if I am working on a program for which I have to create a different type of functions like cleaning data frame, you can say checking null values, and for now let's say this two step, and I return a complete Python file, and if I try to run this Python file, it is going to let's say if it is going to have some error, we have to go through whole file, and see where the error lies. Now, while if I divide this whole file into two parts by creating two functions, first, which is basically going to clean the data frame, basically removing the null values, then of course it is going to check for the you can say outliers. So when I create this type of functions in the program, it is easy to interpret, because it says okay, the error lies in the that function. So when the error lies in that function, we can just simply go to that function and just correct it. Now to show you that, let's say f1 is a function in which I say if print, let's say this type of function is function 1, and I say function 2, and in the function 2 I will say pass. Now if I run this program, as you can see, the error lies in line 47, and this actually indicates us that okay, the function, there is a function in our program which is actually quite broken. So we can just simply check that, and we can simply correct that. So this also leads to error, of course. Of course, this is quite difficult to show you in the single file. So we will just wait for the program which we are going to write in the future, and that will help you understand this. Of course, use the technology for solving your error. Basically, use Google Stack Overflow, and right now the GPTs are in the market, so you can also use those for debugging. Now, also the last thing is Rubber Duck Debugging method. This is a cool method because when you try to explain your code out loud, basically when you try to create a function, you have some kind of, you can say, thought going on in your mind, and you when you are seeing your broken code line by line, when you say okay, this line should do this that type of work, and it should return this kind of thing, and when you are also reading at the same time, you get some time like a, oh, this should work like this, but it is working like this, we can maybe should change that, and this type of things actually helps in debugging really fast. So that's all about this video. So thank you.